touch women physically in certain places to get them physically comfortable with you around them. And how to get the women to sleep with you. And there's even, most people don't believe this exists, but there's little guys that are maybe like nothing against anybody physically, but little guys that are very short, they're bald, or there's even I heard about a guy that was had his face burnt off, that learned how to do these things, these types of manipulation and mind games and these people, they go and they seduce pretty much almost any woman they want, because most women nowadays, sadly, they don't have a problem with somebody coming up to them and just saying, "Hey, I'm practicing my palm reading skills and reading the future. Is it okay if I read your palm?" And most girls they go for that, sadly, and that's how they get seduced. But anyhow, I got into this and I started to see things change in my life. I was now able to get girls interested in me. I was able to, and a lot of girls, I messed up. I would really mess them up because I would kind of practice on them, and a lot of not good things happened to them. Some of them, they would end up fighting other girls. Um, I guess I created some emotional damage, and I need to ask God to forgive me for that. I'm remembering this right now, but anyhow, I didn't get too far into that because I had a sales career going on at that time, and I wanted to focus on working on my sales career and gaining experience in that avenue. But at this point, I kind of started to become more aware of. Also because of my experience here, that seeing that most people don't know that this goes on, that there's people that get together in rooms and talk about these things. I ended up learning about secret societies and politics, and how the whole world is a big lie, and how people worship Satan in people in high society and everything. And I ended up believing in God again, because I kind of became an atheist. Even though I went to church at a young age, I became an atheist. I started to believe in God again, and I tried to obey the Ten Commandments on my own will without Jesus Christ, and obviously I failed completely, miserably. I did what I thought was good compared to how I was before, and I failed horribly. And anyhow, I said to myself, okay, you know what, I'll just be good the best way I think I can be, and if there's one thing, I won't kill people, I won't murder, I won't steal or anything. But if there's one thing that God has to understand, is that I like women and I'm a guy. So I really thought that I could go and keep going on with this kind of attitude, and stand before God one day and get into heaven. Really, superficially, at a mental level, I believed it, but deep down my conscience knew it was wrong, but I would just not pay attention to it. So I started to get back into this world of seduction, but this time I got into deeper philosophies that were a lot worse. I started studying the belief that men are just like animals, that we have some biological innate mechanisms, sexual mechanisms inside of us that we can use to attract women, mainly our brain and certain mental capacities. And I won't get into too much, but one theory that I believed in a lot was this whole notion of a primal beast, a primal side of us, that had a lot of power that you had to kind of allow to surface. And if you would allow this beast, is what they would call it, to surface, you would have a lot more power to be able to influence women. So I bought into this, and I started to see things happen very differently. I would go to parties, I would go up to a girl, make fun of her, joking around, and she would hit me on the shoulder. I would do it, on purpose in front of all the other girls, so that they would see that, and then I would do this planned out, and then they would all start coming up to me and talking, and sometimes I would just make out with girls that I had just met. Um, Sometimes I would go back to somebody else's place alone with a girl, and I had a one night stand one time, and just these things were going on, and I was beginning to change. I was not the same person I was before. I was becoming very arrogant, very proud. I was becoming really short tempered with my family. I was watching a lot of pornography, almost like at some points almost like every day, and I was just masturbating, and I could not even the pornography I was watching was just, I would get thoughts of watching even worse things, but like masochistic things. But I knew that if I would go down that route, I would just become even worse. So anyhow, I was looking at women on the computer, and it was just affecting the way I would see women. I was becoming very judgmental. I would only want to talk to girls or approach girls that looked like these people in these movies, and I was just becoming a monster. And I remember once I took ecstasy at a party, and I was telling a friend of mine that I could feel something dark growing inside me. Anyhow, got to the point once that I was at a rave, and I was going to go and do this again, attack somebody with my lust, and I just heard a voice inside my. It wasn't like a voice that I could actually hear, but it was like if your heart could speak. I could hear the voice, but it didn't come from outside. It came from inside. I could audibly hear it, but it was from inside. It was a peaceful voice, a calm voice, but it had authority. Just like when you're a child and you hear your dad say, "Don't do that," or "Stop," right there. I heard it, and it said, "George, stop. Control yourself." And it was so powerful that it stopped me right in the middle of my tracks. I just stopped, and I just wondered to myself, like, what was that? But I knew it had authority. I knew it was the boss. So I said, okay, maybe it's time to just stop for a second, slow down, take a step back. I decided just to dance, to listen to the music. And ironically, at that point is when the most temptation tried to come. Anyhow, but I didn't do anything that night. And around that point in time, I started to realize all the things that were going on in the world, like the reality of the New World Order and all these wars going on and Satan coming back. I knew all these things were real because I was reading for a time before that, a few months before that, I was reading the Bible, and I knew all the signs were here, and I just knew that I was a monster. I knew I was disgusting. So this time I really put all effort into changing, because I remember that verse in the Bible that said, if your right eye causes you to sin, pluck it out, throw it out. If your right foot causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it away, because it's better to enter the kingdom of heaven maimed than to have your whole entire body thrown into the lake of fire. And this terrified me. It terrified me. So I got rid of everything that I could think of that would make me sin. Some things I got rid of that wouldn't make me sin, but I was just so serious that I got rid of them. And now I realize, okay, I could have used that, but hey, I don't mind, because I was really serious and I don't look back. But yes, I got rid of many things. I pretty much went from having all these electronics and TV and video games and music and all these forms of entertainment, drugs, everything, books, and I tossed them out. I felt like I was living like a hermit or something, because there's almost nothing left in my room, a very very few things. But at that point, things started to happen in my life. I started to experience dreams. I experienced healings. I got healed from lust. I got healed from depression. I got healed from anxiety. I got healed from depression. I got healed from anxiety. I got healed from depression. I got healed from anxiety. I got healed from depression. I got healed from anxiety. I got healed from depression. I got healed from anxiety. I got healed from depression. I got healed from anxiety. I got healed from depression. I got healed from anxiety. I got healed from depression. I got healed from anxiety. I got healed from depression. I got healed from anxiety. I got healed from depression. I got healed from anxiety. I got healed from depression. I got healed from anxiety. I got healed from depression. I got healed from anxiety. I got healed from depression. I got healed from anxiety. I got healed from depression. I got healed from anxiety. I got healed from depression. I got healed from anxiety. I got healed from depression. I got healed from anxiety. I got healed from depression. I got healed from anxiety.